This is afternoon or evening number one of a week-long camping trip that we have. We're at Savanna Portage State Park, about an hour west of Duluth, Minnesota. I'm actually on the old Portage Trail right now, and it's definitely not kept up like the normal trails. I don't know if that's by design to make it seem more kind of like a rustic experience. I'm not sure. You have to be careful around here, though. There's a lot of ticks, so that's the frustrating part. So any tall grass, you got to be ultra careful. But I'm on my way to a different trail, walking on gravel. no ticks here. We'll see how the trail progresses, but I have to take the park road out a little bit, and then there's a little bit of a small trailhead coming up, and then I take that over, cut through, and I start heading west in the park, and then ultimately there's a trail that leads to another trailhead that actually takes you into the state forest. And I think there are 2 different small lakes that I'll come across. So that's my goal today or tonight, just to hit those lakes, see what they look like. Unbelievably gorgeous. It's taking me forever to get across, or to get around the lake. There's a trail, as you can see, that follows the whole thing right along the shoreline, and I'm stopping about every 10 seconds for video and photos. It's really pretty. I technically left the state park and now I am in the state forest. I think it's also named Savanna Portage, but I could be wrong. But I'll tell you what, this remote lake is well named. Well, that was disappointing. It was a long hike to get to Remote Lake, and it is a canoe in, but I thought, you could get a little closer to the water. It looked really pretty. I captured a few shots. The light from the sunset was just starting to splash across an island, and had I brought my canoe, I would have captured some nice shots, I think. But that's too bad. Good thing I don't own a canoe. This has been one of my longer hikes. It's a little after 9 o'clock and I just went past the 8-mile mark. So my legs are kind of tired. It's an easy walk down from our camper next to the lake. So I'm just taking every advantage of this as I can. It's supposed to be cloudy over the next couple of days, so looks like we have a beautiful sunrise this morning. Well, it's Monday evening actually. We've hiked a few times this afternoon, and then now I'm heading out this evening for a hike. And it's going to be a little different than my previous hikes, just because I'm trying to avoid the trails where there's a lot of grass, because I've been pulling ticks off of me like you wouldn't believe. Kind of frustrating. Had one latch on to me too, so getting sick of that. So there's a couple of different trails, or actually locations that we can drive to. So there's two different lakes that I'm driving to, but before I get to the lake, I'm doing what's called the Beaver Pond Trail. So it's a trail that's I don't know, mile and a half or so total, that goes to a beaver pond and then circles it, and then I'll be heading back the same direction. There are no signs of any beavers, but it looks like that's one beaver hut, den, not sure what you call them. There's another one right over there, and then there's a third one back there. So a total of 3 that I can see on this pond. I don't know if it's a dammed up portion of a creek, but it just looks like a pond, basically. Nice spot for a few beavers. That was a neat little trail. No beavers to speak of. The only activity was tons of spider webs. So walking through that was fun. The whole way you're just kind of tearing stuff off of you, and I still have some. I forgot to mention that I'm also heading to the West Savanna River. That is just down this little trail this way, apparently. Well, I made it to the river, and now I'm heading back. It was a short walk, and can't help but wonder if they portaged down that little creek. It couldn't have been more than like 2 feet deep or foot deep in places, especially with a canoe, a couple of people weighted down with supplies, and there was a bunch of downed trees up and down the river or creek. Can't imagine what life was like as a voyager. Well, I checked out both lakes, and both had very unique characteristics. The first one, Wolf Lake, that one was very wild, pristine, no development whatsoever. You can see pine tree just stacked along the entire shoreline, both directions. This lake, part of the land is owned by the state park, and the other, you can tell there's some houses that own the property on the other side. So it's partly wild, partly settled, but both are very beautiful lakes. Tonight I'm heading back up actually to Wolf Lake. That's this first lake that I drove up to yesterday. When I drove up there, you drove up to the west side of the lake where the boat landing is at, and I'm taking a trail that comes up to the south side of the lake. So I'm hoping there's a little bit more to see besides a boat landing. We'll see. The trail looks pretty cool. It's only a mile, a little over a mile to get to that trailhead, and then it's maybe half a mile to get to the trailhead itself. So total hiking probably only put in maybe 5 or 6 miles today. This goes down to another internal trail within the park. This follows the Continental Divide Trail. That goes to Wolf Lake, which is where I'm heading. And then this is a continuation of the Savanna Portage Trail. And that heads quite a few miles, basically to the northeast. So we're heading this way. I have hiked quite a few miles already this weekend, or this start of the week. I'm probably in the 20-mile range or so, and I've yet to run into a single person in any of the trails back here. Well, 1,000% worth it. Hiking up this way from the campsite was a lot better than driving to it. I'm standing out on a dock, not too dissimilar from where I was before, but this just seems more remote and untouched. When I first arrived, there was a swan that was flying by, and I happened to have the right lens on, and I got a couple of nice shots of that. And there's been a couple of other swans over here that I got some shots of. A loon was floating by, and I see him pop up and go under every so often. Got I think it's a maybe not a snapping turtle, I'm not sure. It's a turtle of some sort. Just poking his head up every once in a while. Got a shot of that. Probably not a great one, but one for the memory books anyway. And it's just very, very still out here. There's no breeze, there's no bugs. All you hear is the birds, basically, and a few buzz of the mosquitos, but they're actually not that bad. Yeah, this is very nice. I have to admit, there's a little bit of anxiety. Well, I am leaving, so something cool is bound to happen now that I'm gone. I hung out for quite a while, but I think I'm going to head back. The clouds look like they're going to stick around for a while. I'm seeing spots of sun every once in a while, but there's a dark section that's just going over the sun now, or under the sun now. So I'm going to head back. The mosquitoes started getting bad now here, and they were already really bad along the trail, so I put the net on for my own sanity. But wow, what a beautiful area. Well, you probably noticed I'm driving again. This is a little bit of a scouting trip, actually, just to see if there's other trails in the area that aren't as grassy and therefore have as many ticks and mosquitoes. I drove about a mile south of the state park and then came into the state forest, and there's a designated trail, actually a whole trail system that goes throughout the state forest. And so this is my first time checking out really any state forest here in Minnesota, and so far so good. I'm on a road, not really a trail, but I'm sure that there'll be like regular trails. I'm guessing there'll be grass trails, kind of like before, but so far it's like a dirt road. And there was a sign marking where you're at, It was a little crude, but you could tell where you're at and where you're going, so it worked. So I'd been following this road for a while, and then the trail I'm going to take, which is a little bit shorter loop, goes up that direction. So looks like grass is pretty manageable, so we'll check it out. I think they just kind of gave up on this trail, unfortunately. Hey, little buddy. You laying some eggs? I'll leave you to it. Well, I think I put in a little over 3 miles. Probably what it would have been had I been able to do the full loop, but I had to double back basically because of the trail situation, which is unfortunate. The park had some potential, but yeah, I don't know why the trails aren't maintained. If you're not going to maintain them, then don't advertise that they're there. Well, good morning, everybody. We're nearing the last few days of our trip and looking for different spots to go up to. And I know I've been to this location before, but this is the first spot where I came up to Wolf Lake. So I drove up here again for the sunrise. And looks like it'll be a nice one. The clouds are about to turn a nice color of pink, I think. So we'll see if we can fire off a few shots. Well, I have to say this side of Wolf Lake was a success this time. Made a few friends, had some birds and other wildlife around me, and got a few pictures that I'm kind of excited about, so hopefully those turn out. But yeah, it looked like It's going to be a beautiful day today, and I'm lucky to enjoy some of the really nice morning and the sunrise. Feels like I got the cheat code to this place somehow. I came back to Loon Lake, just drove here. I'm sick of battling the tics. I've had enough. That got old fast. So I drove to Loon Lake and have the entire lake to myself. And I've been following a loon around the lake. And I'm trying to get it on video when they do their call, because it's just a hauntingly beautiful sound. But no luck on the sound or the call, but I have some pretty cool video, if that's anything. And I have a few photos as well. So yeah, just I'm hanging out here for the evening. We'll see how the clouds progress. If it gets, we see the right recipe for a decent sunset, I may stick around, but I'm just kind of laying low this evening. As you can see, it's just really still, very nice. And, I'm just kind of soaking it in because, we're to the point where we're wrapping up the trip. And I have quite a few photos that I'm anxious to share. And then I've hiked quite a bit around this state park and saw some really, really interesting things. So overall, it was a lot of fun. But hoping that we can wrap this one up on a high note. There must be a little haze in, haze in the air because it's not as bright as other nights, but I know that there's been some fires in northern Minnesota, so perhaps that's why it's a little hazy, but still was very, very gorgeous night tonight. And I mean, overall, the park has been a little bit of a mixed bag. Gorgeous, pristine area, just unbelievable. The lake water is so clear, and animals are very, you can tell they're not used to seeing humans. So in that sense, it was really fun to experience. But in the other sense, man, the ticks were bad. The mosquitos were really bad. and that did put a little bit of a damper on it. But overall, I think I still give it a passing grade. We may have to try it again in the early spring or late fall when, all that, other stuff is kind of behind us. So, but anyway, I may still be out tomorrow morning. I don't know yet, but just in case, I thought I'd sign off after a pretty nice long week of hiking, a lot of miles, a lot of cool video. And I've already seen some of the photos I've taken, and I have some ones that I really like as well, and I hope you enjoy it as well. So yeah, if you stuck around way to the end, I appreciate it, and hope to catch you again in the next one. Take care.